What up, y'all? It's TTR, and today we're going to be talking about something big that might come out of Pokemon Legends ZA, which, as you can see in the title, is Battle Bonds. Battle Bonds is a weird thing to introduce during the Kalos days, and at first you might think it's some movie anime form. It's not real, but I'm going to talk to you about it, and this continues off the previous ideas we've been putting forth, which is that the war that happened in Kalos was something along the lines of the organics versus the synthetics, and that AZ was on the side of the organics. And you know, at first when I was making the videos, I forgot about this. I was saying the organic side just had raw Pokemon and they had to fight the synthetic side, which had Mega Evolution and potentially synthetic Pokemon as well, which, you know, that's a different topic I already covered. But then I realized while editing the video, there's something called Battle Bond. And now, here's the thing with Battle Bond, right? Let me tell you a little secret about Game Freak, okay, and Pokemon. They like to pretend that everything was meant to be this way. It's not that they're lying, it's a way of how you write games and build your world. You never back, essentially, right? That's why they almost never retcon. This is why when Leafeon and Glaceon were revealed, they chose to evolve them with methods that technically you couldn't do all this time. That's the reason you could never get it. And it took a long time for them to finally give in and say, okay, you know what? You can evolve Eevee with the Leaf Stone, just leave us alone. And then the same thing with evolving Magneton with the Thunderstone. Think about how crazy that is. That means you could have had Magnezone in Red and Blue, right? Game Freak and Pokemon, they never want a retcon. And this is also why they looked at their archive of games and they're like, Pokemon X and Y, let's make it look like us cutting it short was intended from the start and make Pokemon Z. So when you look at the series from far away, hey, so this was the way Kalos was meant to be. It was a first set of games, then a mid-season game, which is Pokemon Legends ZA, before we go back to Kalos in like 6-7 years. So with that in mind, they introduced Battle Bonds. Here's my theory. I don't think Battle Bonds was something the anime team came up with and then Game Freak decided to adopt in their games. I think Game Freak intervened and planted Battle Bond Greninja. They gave the idea to the anime team staff, saying, you know what? Let's not have Ash Mega Evolve his Pokemon. Give him something special. One, because it's more marketable. It's also cooler that you have a special Greninja form. But we got some plans. So I think in Game Freak Studio, they have lost notes of stuff they were planning to do in X and Y second half, and Battle Bond was gonna play some role in that. Now, if it wasn't gonna play some role, it's what I said at the beginning of the video, which is that now that it is something, Game Freak's gonna make something out of it. So now we have a Mega Evolution that is a part of Gen 6, a core part, and this alternative to Mega Evolution, which only one Pokemon has, Greninja. I think they're gonna write a new story to incorporate these two together and say that Battle Bonds are the rival to Mega Evolution in Pokemon Legends ZA. They're gonna write a completing story to explain just what Battle Bonds are. So first I'm gonna start with the origin to Battle Bond, where they're gonna tell us the Battle Bonds came from. And it's something like this. A war happened 3,000 years ago in Kalos, right? What we've been building off is that this was not Kalos versus Galar or Kalos versus Paldea. It was Kalos versus itself, that they were a divided region. And so the way it would work is like 70% of Kalos is run by a group of people, our side, which is AZ side. And then you had this other 30% of Kalos, the outskirts territory, that were run by someone else. But they weren't important. The main core of Kalos was run by our side. It was fine. In fact, this 70-30 split, which is, you know, I'm just making up these numbers, they might even been called different regions, right? So the 70% might have been called something, maybe the Soyue. Remember how the unknown in the trailer were spelling out Soyue? Maybe Soyue is one of the two parts of what would become modern Kalos, the 70 or the 30. But anyhow, on our side, we have strong Pokemon, and we ruled so well because we have the original gimmick of Kalos, Battle Bond. A gimmick where you enter like full synchronization with your Pokemon, which means your thoughts connect, the damage each of you take connect, and your overall power skyrockets. It's a natural gimmick and so strong that they could rule with an iron fist. And this is when we get to the story and where Mega Evolution comes from. You see, the other 30% are a different group of people that are weaker, but something happens one day. You see, we're linking this to the previous video I made, which is about the idea of alchemy playing a strong role in Kalos. You're gonna have to watch that video because that's a whole rabbit hole, but it makes sense when you come at the end of it. So pretty much you'd have these like 30% mans, they're going around, they're part of modern Kalos, and they see like these clumps of Xerneas and Yveltal energy, they're studying it, and they maybe even hear from a distant region the phenomenon of this dragon Pokemon in the sky that's reminiscent of this Xerneas and Yveltal energy. And so they study this energy and have the ultimate breakthrough, the equivalent to discovering the Philosopher's Stone in our real world example. And with this, they create the Onslaught, the artificial version of Battle Bonds, Mega Evolution, where they use life energy that can be found in Xerneas and Yveltal's energy, and they rapidly evolve or mutate a Pokemon in a controlled way to bring out an explosive power just like Battle Bond. This is why it carries the DNA symbol. It is Mega Evolution. And with this army of Mega Pokemon, they declare war on our side of Kalos, and this is what starts the big AZ war. Them wanting to rule the overall land for their direction in the future. And you see, Battle Bond versus Mega Evolution. If I were to put one over the other, I can. Here's the thing, Mega Evolution, you know they say in games, you need a strong bond with your Pokemon. I don't know how true that is. I mean, they did not implement that in games. I can Mega Evolve a Pokemon I just caught. But anyhow, Mega Evolution comes second place to Battle Bond. Because Battle Bond is genuine, Mega Evolution can't replicate the full surgence of power that is a Battle Bond. But Mega Evolutions are easier to produce, so they have more Mega Evolutions, which are weaker, but we have stronger Battle Bonds. And overall, the two sides, they're equal. Many Pokemon from both sides would have passed away during this long war until one of them was AZ's. Then he gets pissed off, makes the ultimate weapon, revives it, and blows everything up. And so, of the two gimmicks, the Battle Bonds are the ones lost to time, and the Mega Evolutions that scatter all over the region are the remnants that are used in modern Kalos. It's not about which side that won, it's that as modern Kalos begins to develop, what they find around the region and make their tradition. So like Korrina's place, the Tower of Mastery, they obviously hold the Megastones to a high regard, but the true gimmick that was of Kalos, the Battle Bonds, is lost. Okay, so there's a couple of things here. One, I've said this enough times, but the fact that AZ pops up with the machine is very odd. So it makes you wonder if this was a battle between organics and this technological side. How did AZ have the weapon? It's hard to say, but I will say this, right? Floette. If AZ was on the side of the organics, Floette could be some variation of a Battle Bond. There's two ways this could work. Either AZ could Battle Bond his Floette and it would turn into that black and red flower form to be his Ash Greninja type. And when he resurrected it, it resurrected it in that state permanently. That's option one. Option two is that AZ's bond with Floette was so insane that he didn't just achieve a Battle Bond, he achieved something that won't be replicated again, which is like a permanent change through Battle Bond. And so that's what his Floette is. Because if you look at Floette's stats, it's insane. Hear this, it's stronger than all the starter Pokemon. It's stronger than Ogerpon. It's not fully evolved, that's how powerful it is. It's beyond a Mega Evolution. This second stage Battle Bond is something you're not going to be able to get in game, but it's an explanation to his Floette. And so it makes you wonder, how does he have something from both sides? How does he have the Floette, which is from the strong Battle Bond side, but he could also make the weapon? It's hard to tell. Was AZ maybe from the 30% side? The side that had the synthetics, but he was an odd one where he had a Battle Bond on that side. So he was someone well known in the community of that enemy region to us. And so that's why they forced his Floette to fight in the war, because that was one strong pawn they had. AZ was, for some reason, one trainer on their side that was able to achieve that Battle Bond. So maybe AZ is completely from that side. That would be really interesting to find out. And so of course he could go to the back, know the blueprint of the most dangerous weapon they have, utilizing Xerneas and Yveltal power, and just make it and bring it to the battlefield. See, stuff gets weird, but that answers the question too. Okay, I do have to quickly leave, so let me wrap this video up quick. So, Mega Evolution versus Battle Bond. Here's why this is interesting. Battle Bond is not necessarily superior to Mega Evolution. First off, if you compare Mega Evolutions to Ash Greninja is stronger than a Mega Evolution. Mega Evolutions get 100 BST increase, Ash Greninja gets 110. It's like Game Freak leaving behind the proof that technically these genuine battle bonds surpass Mega Evolution because they're the real thing. That's point one. Point two is, let's equal them out. Let's say they both are equal in power. Which one would be better? And the answer is, they both have a weakness. You see, Mega Evolution requires you to give up your item slot, which is huge, especially in the metagame. Not so important for us playing the main game. We don't care too much about the item slot, but it is a big part of Pokemon. But having a Battle Bond Pokemon also forces you to give something up. That's much different than Mega Evolution. And much worse than Mega Evolution. Your whole ability. You see, some Pokemon like Diggersby are made with their ability. And so you would get to a Pokemon like Greninja and have to give up its whole Protean and have this empty ability in order to trigger the same transformation. So the question is for you, would you rather sacrifice your item or your ability? And so in this way, it adds a cool dichotomy where they are equal in a sense, and it's fun to see the differences. And here's the second thing. I think Pokemon Legends ZA is going to introduce new battle bonds in this game, but not many at all. You're going to get like the 3 starters, Aegislash, Goodra, maybe Sylveon and a potential Drakeon, Volcanion. That's it. I've just named 6, that's all. Pretty much, if you have one of these few compatible Pokemon that have a Battle Bond form in this game, once it reaches a certain threshold, either you could go to the party screen and swap its ability into its Battle Bond state, or you take it to some person in this older Kalos state and he'll swap your ability for you. But it'd be a system where you can freely swap it, and it would be a new ability slot that's not your hidden ability. And so this allows a certain group of Pokemon to be able to get this new Mega Evolution-like form. And the way these few Battle Bond Pokemon would work is they would get full transformations. Like Ash Greninja, it would get all the visual changes, the big shuriken on its back, and be pretty much a Mega Evolution-like design. But there'll be some feature on it. Like for Greninja, it's the front cross pattern. For some of these Pokemon, it could be some like pattern that's on its arm. And this pattern will have like 5 different variations to be able to match with your trainer. Each of these variations would be the exact same, but this is how they would mimic the Ash Greninja effect. But it would be just for these few Pokemon. They'll both be just as relevant plot-wise, but they'll intentionally hinder and not give us that many battle bonds. So I think that's most of what I wanted to mention in this. We'd pretty much come out of this Legends EA game with like 15 Mega Evolutions and like 5 battle bonds. What were the ones I mentioned before? The starters, Aegislash, Goodra, the 2 evolutions, and then something like Volcanion, right? They always gotta give it to a legendary. And by the starters, I don't mean Chestnut, Greninja, and Delphox. I mean the legend starters. The ones you're gonna have with you from day one. They're gonna be able to achieve the true gimmick. So going by our recent idea, that would be Blaziken, Serperior, and Empoleon. Which of course Blaziken's too popular Pokemon. He would get both a Mega Evolution and a Battle Bond like that. Even the freaking Kanto stars are gonna get them at this point. That's gonna be DLC. They're gonna give the Kanto starters Battle Bonds in the DLC. There's no shot they wouldn't. Well, if this becomes what I'm saying it is. And so, pretty much to wrap this video up, we take it back to the beginning, where Game Freak installed Greninja and is now gonna make the most use out of it by showing just what lore they're trying to show us with Greninja. And something like this would bring it full circle, while also keeping in that key point that Greninja is slightly stronger than Mega Evolution. And why of all the trainers in the original anime, they decided to give it to Ash, who's our main dude who has a strong bond with Pokemon. He could achieve that true Mega Evolution gimmick that they had back then. Anyhow, shank that like button. I'll talk about this more in future videos. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.